Today's topic, slavery. And I'm for real this time. Last time I did a same intro like this. Shout out to the reference if you get it. But today we're going to be talking about slavery and why I think that humanity is doomed to be cucked losers no matter what. And this is coming off of a video where we talked about, did they fix One Punch Man with AI? The video itself doesn't really matter, but it's more like a conceptual thing of whether or not you support universal basic income. If you don't know what universal basic income is, it's this concept that as life proceeds, as civilization proceeds and technology evolves to the point that we have AI, maybe we even get AGI, I don't fucking know, that people will be less required at work. In order to appease corporate shareholders in the bottom line, in order to make the rich get even richer and the poor get even more poor, AI will be used to what? Do you think it's going to help humankind? I think it'll help mankind who are already in the game. I think it's going to help business owners that doesn't need 30 employees but only need 3 of them now and can use AI to offset the others. And whether you like it or not, I think this is the future. I genuinely do believe that the future will be such that the wealth gap, the inequality of the power balance in capitalism is going to get worse and worse. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And what happens when that happens? What happens when that happens? I have a comment here I want to read. It's a pretty thought-provoking one. I think that, you know, even though we're doing anime stuff, I think this actually does matter. But before we do that, I want to bring you about this, right? What do you think is going to happen with the society where people are struggling even more and more? People have no reason to hope. They think that the world is done and that no matter what they do, they're going to fall behind. So why try? Why try? You know what that leads to? Leads to a Lord of the Mysteries situation. Remember the arc? Remember Lord of the Mysteries, the final arc in season 1? What happened? Because of how much the people of Tengen were suffering, just shitty ass work conditions, poor motherfuckers, all just stuck in poverty. And listen, you can tell them, ha, skill issue, get a fucking education, get a better job. And if you know me, that is what I say a lot of the times, right? You understand how black-pilled I am in my mindset that helps me survive in this current game that I live in. I say, shut the fuck up. No one cares about your problems. Help yourself. No one will help you other than yourself. So just grind, lock in and grind and make something of yourself. And this is something I take to heart because of the shitty world that we live in. And in an utopia, in an ideal world, people wouldn't have to suffer like this and resort to committing crimes. A lot of people hate this notion that, like, if you make conditions hard for people to live in, that they do crimes. I think a lot of people do commit crimes. They shoplift, they loot, they do all these different things because they have no other option. And yeah, they're criminals. But I'm saying that, like, reactive responses to this is not very helpful in the overall cause. I think a world where we uplift people's basic, just like, dignity in their livelihoods, whether that be in the form of universal basic income when people get displaced from their jobs, I think that would actually help everyone else live better in the world. Because if the living conditions are so fucking shit that all you have is a bunch of rich people in their gates and poor people who just want to fuck shit up and crash out, no matter how much police you have, no matter how many jails you build, that's not fixing the root cause. The rot is there and you see the symptoms. And a lot of people have very different attitudes and mindsets about this. I do believe you need universal basic income. My concept of universal basic income isn't that everyone becomes a millionaire, by the way. It's just a standard amount that helps you survive. A social security net that actually gives you some sort of reassurance and hope that, like, you can work harder and get more. And if this honestly causes a bunch of needs and for people to not give a fucking not try anymore, I think that those people are better than criminals who, again, commit crimes, steal, loot, kill, because they have no fucking other option. And I get it. It sounds really shitty right now that I'm playing defense for the criminals that, like, not to fucking lose their mindset. No, I genuinely believe that if you make people's lives easier, they won't do this as much. If you make life fucking hard, no matter how much you say, just get a job, just fucking lock in, just be better, that's not helpful. It's not realistic. The average person is a fucking retard. You need to have a system that cares about the average person too. This comment, I agree with. This guy basically talks about disagreeing with universal basic income and, all about this, right? But there's a sentiment in here, and I completely agree with what he's saying. This is an objective assessment off of the system that we live in. But here's the thing. There's a part right here. Where is this part? The essential thing. Where's the part? Wait. Come on. Did he remove this? It's over here. So this is the part about universal basic income, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make artists relevant again. All you end up doing is simply paying them up to stop mattering. It's essentially a consolation prize for the artist who have lost its artistic battle for the survival of the fittest. And I'm telling you, bro, that this is the way that you see life because you're stuck in this fucking box. What if I told you life doesn't need to be a survival of the fittest, right? There actually does exist a reality, a fictional reality, because I don't know how good the AI is going to be, right? Let's just get this straight. We have no clue how significant AI technology will be to displace us and how it can be used to help us. So we're literally just theory crafting right now. But at least I would want to try, right? Is that there does exist a reality where we can utilize AI and stop being slaves to the system and the people that controls the rules. Having this cucked mindset that it's impossible, right, is the reason why most of you will be peasants as we continue on to neo-modern feudalism. You're gonna call me mean for this, but I do straight up think that. I think that I am doing really well right now in this game of capitalism. And I'm not trying to flex on you. I'm just telling you that I know the game and I play within it and I thrive in it and I excel in it. But even then I can recognize that this is not sustainable. And to tell every struggling new grad or person, right, who has no hope, who's lost a job, what are you gonna tell them? Start a fucking YouTube channel? Nah, bro, you just fucking react to anime. Easier said than done. It's not a realistic advice. So again, what kind of reality do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a reality where only the few survive off of this predatory system while many other people just struggle and just die off? Or do you want a system that just gives everybody just some basic sense of dignity? I'm not saying, again, just make them all fucking millionaires and billionaires and we can just all fucking just smoke weed and watch anime and fuck around. That's not what I'm saying. But you need to have something to actually prepare for this fucking inevitable future. Your entire argument is limited and stuck within the confines of the existing system that preys upon scarcity to appease the top that you won't be part of most likely. This guy might actually be devil incarnate. No, he's just looking at the situation in a very pragmatic way. But I think that the pragmatic assessment of this is limited because we have a new chance to actually change the meta. The video game that we're playing right now is actually a changing meta. There's going to be a new patch that's going to hit. And it's up to you to complain to the devs, to make some noise, to say, here's some stuff that I think we should change to help us, rather than make the situation worse, right? Isn't that kind of wishful thinking? And this is another thing too, right? This is a very common argument. Immediately is, you live in a fantasy delusion. Isn't that kind of wishful thinking? I mean, it would be nice if such a reality could exist, but will it? Yes, that's the entire point. To actually hope for a better future and to actually try to change rather than be apathetic and make excuses why it's impossible, right? A better question straight up is, why would anyone be against advocating for the improvement of everyone's quality of life? I'm not talking about the ceiling. I'm talking about the base floor. I'm talking about the most average retard, for them to actually have hope, to have some sort of security so they can also contribute into society and be better. If they don't want to, hey, they can just rot with universal basic income, barely getting by, and I still think that would be still better than people living on the streets resorting to fucking crimes, because that's all they're gonna do now because they're fucking stupid. I'm perfectly content playing the current capitalist game and I excel at it. Doesn't mean I won't think about other people who don't have a privilege. And here's the other thing too. Why do you immediately just say it's wishful thinking? Because this is why I think it is. Like even in chat right here, too idealistic of an idea though. I think you're all cucked. I think you're all fucking losers deep inside. And I'm not trying to insult you, saying that like I hate you. I'm saying this is the outcome of people who has been fucked over by society and the system that we live in. People can't even hope anymore. They're so apathetic. Every fucking day you're put into the fucking grind, making money that barely gets you by. You don't even think there's upwards in mobility. You see other people streaming, playing video games, open up fucking loot boxes, making your fucking annual salary in a fucking single stream. And that's probably gonna fuck you up even more. This absolute disparity in the gap. And if you think that it's unfair for streamers, wait till you realize the existence of billionaires and how much a billion is more than a million. And when you realize that like there does exist a system where we can regulate the fucking wealth gap such that the billionaires, they pay more taxes. I'd be willing to pay more taxes. If that means that everybody across the board's floor can get up, why not try? But immediately, people say what? Nah, impossible. They'll make up thousands and thousands of excuses for why it's not possible, but they'll never even try, I think. So why is that? Because human beings are just losers inside. We have no hope. You've been beaten by the system, and this is how you've been trained. You're conditioned to be a loser, to act against your best interest. And guess what? Your life ain't gonna get better if you don't fucking want it to get better. And there's this comment, right? Except you didn't actually counter the economic argument, but simply briefed it as a moral failure. You talk about preying upon scarcity, but the fact is that post-scarcity world we talk about is an abstract theoretical fantasy and not an actual working economy. And you know what? Yes, because right now we have no clue how much AI will impact us. I'm talking about a reality that could happen or not. You don't know anything either. We're really just trying to say, I think that we should have rules and regulations such that the AI works for us and not fucking against us. Universal basic income is a fiscal black hole. You can literally use basic arithmetic to figure out it's unsustainable unless you're willing to tank the economy or triple the taxes. And you know what? If it means that I increase my taxes, and the taxes again is not for you, by the way. You're probably not like a fucking billionaire. I'm talking about the excessive wealth. Again, if you guys don't understand, let me just like give you a graph. Let me just give you like a visual depiction of how it looks, okay? Come on, it's just scoring right now. So again, like if this is the overall, I don't know, money pool. If this is like the overall like money pool, I don't know, of the economy, like an abstract fact, I think that most people are here. Right there. I think that most people are here while that's why they call them the 1% the 1%. While this is the actual like wealth that like corporate billion, like Elon Musk is going to be a trillionaire, by the way, based on the stock valuation. I think that's what that is. And I do believe that with arithmetic, not talking about taxing the basic person. And then people will say, well, rich people will just simply leave. Listen, there's so many different arguments that you can fucking make about this. I'm not talking about whataboutism. I'm trying to say, what about this specific reality? Like, why not think that it can actually work rather than try to make 10,000 different excuses? I'm just saying, what about it? Right? The whole whataboutism, trying to say, what about that? What about this? I'm saying, what about this one specifically in a world where the economy is straight up hoarded by so many fucking people that maybe taxing doesn't really impact you specifically and does impact a lot of the fucking billionaires that actually has all the wealth. It is a reality. And to protect them immediately, if your gut instinct is to say, what about the poor corporations? What about the poor billionaires? What? Why do you argue for that? And then people will say, well, if you have this system, they will simply leave and billionaires won't simply exist. Maybe that should be the better system. Straight up. I think that would be an actual better reality. Systems with finite resources will always produce competition. Because scarcity exists whether you're philosophically a privet or not. Any system that tries to pretend to abolish scarcity ends up reintroducing it covertly through bureaucracy, regulation, favoritism, or political power struggles. And you know what? Yeah, because we don't work in absolutes. The world is not a perfect place. There's not a perfect solution. I'm trying fucking try something to have a working solution. Am I saying people should all just become millionaires by just eating the rich? No. I'm saying they should have a basic level of dignity and survivalhood so that they have hope. If you don't give young people hope to survive, why even fucking try? Right? Like, just like how you say I'm not, like, this is also some bullshit. You and I have no clue how things will actually be in the future. To say that like scarcity will still fucking exist in the same way that we live in right now later on, when we can have so much different automation that removes all the fucking redundant bullshit, I think there does exist a working situation where you can utilize AI, utilize automation, and through careful taxing and understanding what the economy is like, actually uplift people's livelihood without like thinking about, oh, your money's all gonna go away. Like this right here is the common propaganda that like a lot of right-leaning people will send to you. I'm not saying he's a right-wing grifter, by the way. I'm just saying I see this talking point a lot. Anytime you try to vouch for the common person, they'll say they're coming for your wallet. And the retards watching that mass media shit, they're probably making like 60K or below, without realizing this tax bracket is probably for millionaires and billionaires. And they're like, not my fucking money. Nah, you fucking libtards. You need to fucking actually work. Like, oh, you fucking idiot. It's like, it's so different, but you get propagandized to think that they're coming after your fucking wallet. And if it comes after my wallet, listen, tax me more. I'm doing pretty decent. I don't need excess. Like, what's the difference between making 300K and 500K a year? To some people, that might be a lot of money, but I think that quality of life doesn't really change at a certain point of money that you go in. At that point, you're thinking about luxury purchases like supercars and fucking yachts and shit like that. I'm talking about a simple life where my basic needs are all taken care of. Like, I don't need to spend all that fucking money. If you want to tax me, you want to tax other people, go ahead if that means uplifting the average person. Because a lot of the times, honestly, that I think is a better future. I think that the reason why I try to live in better neighborhoods and have more money to send my kids to different, private schools and blah, 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 if that ever happens, is because there's a lot of poor, broke people. Straight up. People don't want to live in, in poverty-ridden downtown because there's a lot of fucking criminals out there. And I need to spend more money on security and more like that. I think that if you actually uplift the average quality of life for the average person, that kind of issues would be less. It would be. You can accuse me of having a cucked mindset, but there's something very ironical when you also go on to talk about outsourcing your survival to government stipends. Not sure which sounds more cucky to me. This is such an interesting comment. It is such an interesting perspective that, again, can only exist because you are apathetic and you don't even hope for a better future. I think that you are a cuck. Who pays like government stipends? Whose fucking money is that? It's fucking my money. It's your money. It's everyone's money that we get taxed on. So should we then try to have something that makes the government use our fucking money in a way that helps us? Or do you want this world we're into fucking cyberpunk neo-feudalism, and if you're not, the CEO of Arasaka Company, you're fucked? What's more cuck to me? Like, you say, like this part, if AI concentrates power, then their rational response is to learn to wield it. That's what I'm saying. Not to hope someone redistributes profit out of pity. Like, listen, redistributing its profit out of pity is absolutely wielding it. We can use the technology and straight up automate so much fucking bullshit that the average person doesn't need to be at a factory to do, and we can uplift people's lives because, again, the concentration of wealth is so fucking ridiculous right now. I think that, and this is like this common sense of like, oh, how dare you, expect something from the government? You're a fucking cook. You're a loser, bro. You should strap up by your bootstraps and listen. I'm the first person to fucking tell you. Lock in. Shut the fuck up and lock in and actually try. Make your life better because no one else will. But this fucked up solution is for a fucked up problem. I think that in an ideal world, and there's not going to be utopia, but in some sort of like actual world, it doesn't need to be this fucking hard. It doesn't need to be this fucking Sigma. I preach for these values because that's the game that we're playing in. Doesn't mean I won't try to think of a different fucking game with a different rule set. I do believe it is a cucked mindset. If you think that you, if I'm literally saying wield the power. I'm saying use AI and the taxes that we send and fucking utilize that shit. Wield that power to help us rather than having this weird narrative that the government stipends. Are you fucking serious? What about corporations that constantly get bailed out by government fucking bailouts? What about these billionaires in different companies that has so much more? Like during COVID, bro, you think the tax, the checks going up to the average person was bad? You look at the egregious amount that business owners were scamming. Yet the fucking CRA for Canadian Revenue Agency for my end, in America it's different, right? Like the IRS or whatever. Bro, it's crazy how you will always defend the top elite and the corporations rather than and this is the libertarian mindset. This is the enlightened libertarian where they're yo, nothing else will change. We must exist in the current system because that's how it's always been. But again, you and I have no fucking clue what's going to happen in the future. And I do believe that it is absolutely a fucking cucked mindset if you don't utilize the money that you fucking give to the government to help the people. Oh, the poor corporations. No. I think that there does exist a reality. Again, it's such an interesting perspective. It is such an interesting perspective where they're so smart, they're so aware, but they choose to live in the fucking shitty system. Maybe he's a business owner, maybe he's actually a gigachad business owner and a super libertarian and he doesn't want to get taxed. But to me, honestly, I'm making enough money. And if it means that I get taxed a little bit more. And if other people get a little bit more, and these failed fucking billionaires actually get taxed more to help society, why not that? These are not hand-me-outs from the government. This is literally you trying to fucking stranglehold the government to say, use your money in a better fucking way rather than wasting it, you fucking idiots. So no, life can't just stop being the survival of the fittest just because you're tired of the game. I'm not tired of the game. I love the game. I excel at the game. I thrive at the game. But I can also acknowledge that the game is going to get worse as you continuously make the living condition of the average person worse. It's going to get worse and worse. And man, when the riots start happening in the streets, because straight up, people driven to the brink of their wits, when you have, nothing is more scarier than a man who has nothing to lose. And I'm trying to prevent the average retard from not having anything to lose. Like straight up, like if you, and I'm not, again, it's not like millionaire. I'm not trying to say, oh, universal basic income so everyone becomes millionaires and fucks around all day. No, just a standardized amount that actually scales with inflation, that actually addresses the basic living needs so that they have some sort of security net, so that when they get fucked over, that they can actually hope for something better rather than living in a reality where there is no hope at all and they just give up. That is a fucking dystopian, shitty society. The rules don't care about exhaustion. You can adapt, evolve, and use the new resources. That's what I'm fucking saying. What I'm preaching for is literally called adapting, evolving, using the new resources. You're talking about stagnation. You're talking about, you know, increasing the profits for the ultra fucking rich, this K-shaped economy. If you don't know what a K-shaped economy is, this is it, right? This is the reality that we're living in. K-shaped, what is that? It's like this, right? And the K-shaped economy is such that it's like this. These are the poor, and these are the rich. And instead of everyone slowly increasing upward trending, the rich are gonna keep getting richer, baby. And the poor are going to keep getting poorer, and the gap's going to get bigger and bigger. And I do think with AI coming in, do you think that the government is going to have some sort of system that actually helps people? Nah. I think that as long as we exist in capitalism and everything is driven by pure profits, human lives don't fucking matter. The people losing jobs here don't fucking matter. These people are going to get richer and richer. They'll utilize AI. They will wield the power and make the life worse for pretty much most people here. And many of you that have this cucked mindset of thinking, oh, the poor fucking billionaires, no, the business owners are just gonna fucking leave if we tax them. No, man, like this is a fictional story tale. I do agree that I don't know what's gonna happen, and we are just theory crafting, but why not hope for something better? Why not actually try to hope for something better rather than living in a shitty system that preys upon the many? A very pragmatic and objective response that is limited by the system that you live in. And I'm telling you, man, this is a cucked mindset. The way that you phrase this, it just tells me that like, this is this, like imagine this. This person, I'm sure, would also advocate for healthcare to get more expensive. You broke a fucking leg. Now, emergency cost bills, like, I don't know, you need to get some treatments in the ambulance. It's like $2,000, you're fucking bankrupt. That's it. The average person, boom, already done. Should the government cover for that by everybody in society paying taxes to ensure everyone's lives get better? Or should we just say, nah, you're a fucking pussy. Walk it off. That's right. You're a fucking pussy, bro. You're gonna rely on the government, the money that you fucking pay, by the way. You're gonna, while the government continues to fucking overspend on bullshit that you don't fucking actually need, donating fucking money to random ass countries to be involved in wars that doesn't fucking matter to you. I care about the average person living in my fucking country. And if that money is actually gonna help them rather than some random ass fucking country fighting fucking proxy wars somewhere there, fuck that. Why would we do that? Look at America's defense spending. Like, if you truly believe that it's just like fictional and that this is unrealistic, no. I think that there is plenty to go around. I think that this is not an all or nothing situation, and universal basic income can absolutely be a thing that helps the average person, such that the society that we exist in can be better for everyone, rather than specifically helping the few. And this type of mindset is a cucked mindset.